So, have you heard the one where I have no words or much to say? Well, a really, really close friend of mine's mother died 2 days ago. And I'm not telling that story. That is not my story to tell. And I can, I can totally relate because I lost my mother when I was in my 20s. But I'm not talking about that either because I'm not ready. So I was like, I don't know. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. So I prayed, and I'm gonna just talk about like mourning, like what it is to me, or what it feels like to mourn, because I don't know about you. That this is a club. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible club that I hate to be a member of. My girlfriend Dana texted because she's in the member of the club too, and just anytime anybody joins this club, it's like it sucks. But we are women without mothers, and that is a club that is very hard. I mean, the dues are are heavy. I mean, I think losing your child club is probably maybe the worst, but it's not like any club is any better than the next, or any is worse. It just, there is a specific feeling when you're a woman and you lose your mother. And I can relate. And I know a few women that can relate. So I could just talk about how it felt for me. And anyone that may be watching this that hasn't lost anyone, maybe this can give you some insight into like what do you say? What do you do? And it ends up being like very little because nobody knows what to say or do. How I picture it is that you're in this like capsule. So it's like a pod, an isolation booth. And the air is kind of like a little air of denial. And you don't really remember food coming in or sustenance. I mean, I'm sure it came in when I was mourning. I just don't like, I paid it no mind. It didn't really, it was of no importance. There's a bed. There's definitely a bed in that capsule. And it's fluffy with pillows and big comforter, and a lot of the time you're spending your time in that bed. Other people can come in, visitors can come into your pod, but like they're just faceless, warm bodies. And the beauty about being in this wild and like isolation booth is that you can have like these fits, and you can have these emotional outbursts within it, and no one can see. No one will pay it any mind. And the downfall is like you can bring drinks and alcohol and drugs into there because you feel entitled to it. And you feel like you're alone because you kind of are. There was windows. There's windows to look out, to kind of see the world, but it's like they're all like askew, like not the real clear way of looking at life. And they're just angry. You're full of anger and sadness and hopelessness. So when you're looking out of these distorted windows in your isolation booth, you're looking out of them with angry eyes. I just remember like the feelings of like, how dare the birds sing? Like, oh, how dare like the news keep going? It was just like, doesn't everybody know that like it's not like, it's not okay. Because like in your little capsule, time does not exist. So for life to keep going past these windows, it just seems unfair and very painful. I remember looking out the windows of my little pod in anger, and anybody who had a mother still was like PO'd about. And poor Al, I mean, my dad, like he was losing his best friend, and I was losing, my mother. And I just was so mad that his mother was alive. And you can think those things, but you shouldn't say them. And of course I did. I said, I don't understand why your mom's still alive and mine's not. And that was not nice. That was not nice at all. But like, you're in this booth of, you just feel alone, and so like selfish things come out of your mouth. So I didn't mean that. I feel bad about that. But I couldn't understand why my mother had to go, or why she had to leave. And all these people just went about their lives, living their lives, and other people had mothers that were really, really old, or, just couldn't understand it. And, I know this is a weird, way of looking at it, but like, if you've ever seen the movie Groundhog Day, it's a great movie. Bill Murray, love him. There's a point where, he keeps repeating the same day over and over and over and over again. And he's starting to get to be a better person. And there's this homeless guy. So he, during one of his, days, this homeless man passes. And so then now it's his mission, Bill Murray's mission, to keep this man alive. And no matter what he did, he fed him and he got him into a shelter. No, the man passed. He got him into the hospital for testing. The man passed. Every single time, it didn't matter what Bill Murray did, he was like, not on my day, not on my watch. It didn't matter. We don't have a say in this. I do believe God has our days. He knows. He knows. He knows all of our hairs. So of course he knows all of our days. So it doesn't matter what we did, what we said, what we could have prevented, because it wasn't preventable. And so these feelings of guilt, these feelings of coulda, shoulda, wouldas, I really honestly believe it just doesn't matter. And it may be cold, it may be harsh, it may be sad, but it's also kind of a feeling of relief. So where does that leave the surrounding witnesses? So people that are not in your pod, it's just, you can just sit with them. So we can sit with these people that are going through this and that are in their little pods, and you could sit with them. But a little warning, words are hard in the chamber. Cliches, they kind of come off like nails on the chalkboard. So things time will heal, or she's in a better place, or I remember when my mom passed, our neighbor, in our little building, oh my gosh, we called her Cross-Eyed Grace. It's not a nice name, but her eyes were definitely cross-eyed, and so it was fitting. I didn't make it up. It was my roommate. But Cross-Eyed Grace goes, "Oh, you know who else died?" Because she's like, "Oh, who died? Who died?" And she sees the flowers all over the place, because I didn't have enough room in our apartment, so I kept them out in the hall. And she said, "Oh, who died? Who died?" And I said, "Oh, my mother passed." And she goes, "Oh, you know who else died? Selena." And I'm like, I think fire came out of my eyeballs and but you just say, oh, Selena, yeah, that's hard. So certain things are probably better left unsaid. So you can just sit with them. And I feel like I'm in a little bit of a pod right now. I remember my pod. I remember it. And it took years. I feel like it took years for it to just fall away and start to chip and come away. And I feel like the last things to go were the windows. Like, I looked out of those windows for years, angry, bitter, sad. So when other losses come up in our lives, we go right back into that pod. And when I lost my mother, I pushed God away. I totally pushed him out of my pod. I just wanted to be alone. And now I do feel like I'm sitting in a little bed in my pod, but I do have God here. And it's easier. I wish I would have invited him back in my time of loss. I feel like healing would have been very different. So those were a lot of words to not have any words, but I hope this helps somebody.